It's time for Business Now on Prime News Paris. Kate Moody joins me in the studio. It's good to see you, Kate.
Hi, Yinka.
So Boeing is desperately trying to raise cash as its series of crises roll on.
Yeah, seemingly no end to the problems that Boeing is dealing with or the financial strain that it's been under. This on the heels of last week's announcement of 17,000 job cuts, or around 10% of its global workforce. This Tuesday, Boeing confirmed it had secured $10 billion in loans from a consortium of major banks, and separately, that it was hoping to raise $25 billion by selling shares and debt. That did slightly reassure investors. We're seeing Boeing shares up nearly 3% this trading session on Wall Street. But just for some context, we still are at nearly a third of the all-time high of over $430 per Boeing share in 2019. Today, Boeing shares are trading for around $152. Now, just a brief reminder of some of the problems that have been dogging the company. In 2018 and 2019, two deadly crashes of 737 MAX planes, which led to the global grounding of that popular model. Investigations have raised doubts about Boeing's manufacturing and safety protocols, while whistleblowers have since alleged the company put profits ahead of quality. The pandemic led to production delays, layoffs, and canceled orders. In 2022, Boeing delayed the launch of its next-generation 777X. In early January of this year, a door blew out minutes into a flight on an Alaska Airways 737 MAX flight. There have been a series of in-air mishaps on Boeing planes since then. Then, in mid-September, 33,000 Boeing workers went on strike. Talks have broken down as that walkout enters a fifth week. Boeing was already losing an estimated $1 billion per month because of production problems. Estimates now suggest the strike has already cost it a further $5 billion. The aerospace giant has at least $50 billion worth of long-term debt. That's 5 times the 2019 level. Now, if it does manage to raise the $35 billion that it's aiming for today, that could go some way to easing its most pressing financial needs. And despite its avalanche of setbacks, Boeing remains a world leader in the aviation market. Boeing and European rival Airbus dominate production of the jets that are used by airlines around the world. Moving on, the French government has confirmed it will block the proposed sale of a popular pain medication if it's not satisfied with the terms. Pharmaceutical giant Sanofi is in talks to sell a controlling 50% stake in Opella, the subsidiary which makes the best-selling pill Doliprane, to an American private equity firm. That sparked an outcry on all sides of the political spectrum, with critics worried about a loss of sovereignty for French manufacturing. Doliprane is France's top-selling medication. Its brand name here is synonymous with paracetamol or painkiller. On Tuesday, a government spokeswoman said the Macron administration would stop the deal from going ahead if it's not sure that production will remain in France.
We don't rule out the possibility of a public player taking a stake in Opella if necessary, just as we don't rule out the possibility of using all the means at our disposal to control foreign investment in France, and that could go as far as blocking the transaction.
Electric and hybrid cars are center stage at the Paris Motor Show, which opened to the public today. Tesla is back after a 6-year absence, as are a number of Chinese manufacturers, despite a recent EU decision to increase tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. Despite strict EU targets, convincing drivers to go electric isn't always easy, as Yuka Royer explains.
From luxury SUVs to compact cars to tiny concept cars, electric vehicles are everywhere at this year's Paris Motor Show. Some visitors are tempted, while others have already converted.
It's quite luxurious and pleasant with nice materials. It's quite nice.
We drive 110 kilometres to work every day. When we had a diesel car, it cost us €13 per day. Today, it costs just €3 per day.
European manufacturers have shifted into full gear in delivering affordable EVs as they look towards a 2035 deadline under EU law to make all new vehicles sold in the bloc zero emission. The event comes at a tough time for many European manufacturers amid faltering demand and fierce price competition from Chinese rivals. From January to September, the number of EVs sold in the EU were down 8.4% from a year earlier, according to an industry group. The ACEA also pointed to a worrying survey that showed the number of electric car owners wanting to switch back to petrol cars exceeded those who want to do the reverse, and called on Brussels to come up with urgent relief measures.
We're now at the point where we've gone past the early adopters and into the mass market, and the way to tempt people into these cars is for incentives. Car makers are saying we've done our bit, and now they're asking governments to do their bit by supporting these cars.
One of the biggest success stories is in non-EU member Norway. It said last month that it now had more electric cars on the road than petrol cars. The oil-producing nation aims to have all new cars sold there zero emission by 2025, 10 years ahead of the EU's goal.